A very good afternoon. Welcome to our Vendée Globe Live English show. We're here every day at the same time. It's Monday, straight down to business, and our guest today in person on the plateau is Hubert Lemonnier. Hubert, 1 month in, no grey hairs yet?
Not yet. It's been a tough month, lot of stories, but happy to be all here.
And how's the race going so far for you, generally?
It's been very interesting. We are fascinated every day by the race. Lots of action on the water. 2 boats retired had to abandon the race, unfortunately, but we still have 38 boats to sell, so it's a record, and we're very happy that everybody's sailing very well.
You've got your hands full, though.
Yeah, exactly. We are full in, and we are very focused.
Indeed. Another guest we have is virtual Alan Roberts. Alan, how are you?
Hi Andy, all well, very good here, dry, getting a bit colder, not as cold as they've got down south.
Indeed, we'll come back to you in a few seconds, but the big news yesterday was Sébastien Simon, the boat in second place, losing his foil, and this was Seb reporting in about the damage.
Bonjour à tous, une mauvaise nouvelle à bord de groupe du Breuil. Et oui, je ne l'ai pas dit plus tôt, mais cette nuit, on a cassé un foil et j'étais en train de dormir quand le bateau est parti au tas d'un coup et ça m'a réveillé. Je suis allé dans le cockpit, redresser le bateau, choquer les écoutes et j'ai très vite senti aux sensations que quelque chose clochait. J'ai été vérifié sur le pont et en fait le foil était cassé au niveau du coude, c'est-à-dire la partie la plus courbée du foil qui est la plus profonde aussi et qui tient le type. Il n'y a plus de foil, il n'y a plus rien dans l'eau. C'est vraiment très dur à encaisser, hein, je vous l'avoue, en parler me déplaît énormément. C'est dur pour tout le monde et heureusement j'ai le soutien de mon partenaire, le groupe du Breuil et ma famille et de mon équipe, mais voilà, c'est assez raidasse quand même. En tout cas, la course n'est pas finie, hein, je vais aller au bout.
So, Alan, a very difficult blow for Sébastien Simon. How's that going to affect him?
Yeah, it's quite a big blow. It's on his starboard side, I think. So he should have coming back up the Atlantic should be not too bad for him, but for sure it's going to affect his performance massively. And I guess maybe it broke as part of the risk that they took, sailing through a bit heavier conditions further south. Or maybe it was going to break anyway. It's kind of one of those things that's hard to tell, but these boats are being pushed pretty hard. We've seen Seb broke the 24-hour record, which was pretty impressive as well. But we can look back. Alex broke a foil and still managed to finish second in the Vendée Globe. So it's I guess Seb's going to keep fighting all the way to the end.
Indeed, Alan, that's a good point about Alex Thompson. Anyway, the news on the racecourse, Charlie Dallin, I think, is just approaching or almost at Cape Lewin. Just a few hours earlier, we had Jin Kun Chu passing the Cape of Good Hope. No record for Charlie at the moment, but that became fairly obvious a couple of days ago. But Louis Burton is safely into Cape Town. The fleet is compressing a little bit at the front of the fleet with Johan Richomme and Thomas Rion catching up over 100 miles on the leaders since yesterday. Alan, you're watching things pretty closely on the racecourse. How do you see it developing over the next couple of days?
Yeah, again, it's going to be interesting with the boats going south of Australia now. How they'll split up. There's a low pressure system that's going to work its way north of the ice zone, and I think Charlie will just sneak ahead of it, and maybe Seb as well. And then it will be interesting to see how the boats behind Johan and the packet chasing hard will deal with that, whether they'll be able to get around the top, how much they'll have to back off, how hard Charlie will be able to push to keep his advantage ahead of the fleet, or if he'll have to push and what risks and that will mean for the boat. So it's I think the next couple of days are going to be pretty interesting as they go past the southernmost point of Australia.
Thanks, Alan. We'll come back to you in just a few seconds. I hope that we do have Conrad Coleman on board MS Amlin. Conrad, how are you?
Very well, thank you, Andy. How about you?
We can't complain at all, but you've had a few problems, haven't you? It's not been too easy for you.
Sorry, I just it's a bit breezy here at the moment. I've got 35 knots of wind, and I just was doing 25 knots of boat speed. Yeah, well, I don't think the Monday Globe is easy for anybody, to be fair. I'm feeling pretty good because I've got all my sails on board the boat still and they're all still working. But that was not a sure thing. I think the incident that you're referring to is that I had a sail on deck in the sail bag, and the spray destroyed the sail bag and launched the sail over the side and dragged it behind the boat. And it took me several hours of hard work to try and get the boat stopped, stable, and drag the sail back up on board the boat. And it was still incredibly in a usable condition, and I was able to use it the following day. But it has created some auxiliary damage around it. And last night I rebuilt the Vang system in the middle of the night to help control the shape of the mainsail, because the previous one has now definitively.
And how are you bearing up physically? It's, I say we're a month into this race and you've been working pretty hard.
Yeah, I certainly have been. The biggest challenge that I've had the last 10 days, I've been nursing my knee. I had a blackout, a general blackout on the boat a little bit more than 10 days ago, and spent a lot of time sort of on my hands and knees crawling around the boat, and I think I created a pressure injury on my knee, and it's become sort of quite inflamed and infected, and so at times it's incredibly painful. It stops me from walking properly, and so it's, you know, we talk about single-handed sailing, but we don't talk about single-legged sailing, and that's certainly been the case here the last couple of days. So yeah, it's certainly made life more difficult. And sadly, the blackout has had an impact on the race, because I had to stop the boat for almost a day, and then sail slowly for the following day, and so I lost a lot of position in the fleet, but I'm working hard to try and get that back.
From that perspective, what is your strategy in terms of the risk and how hard you have to push at the moment with regard to the boats to the north of you?
Yeah, well, I had a front come through last night, and a front is so I'll just give you a little perspective as to what I'm saying with here, because I put my mast straight so that we can see the images up front, because it looks a bit silly to have me bounce around inside the boat if you can't see what's going on. So at the moment it's 30 knots, and it's the small Jenica that's driving the boat forwards, and I'm pretty happy with the boat because we've got pretty stable speed, but it's certainly a bit of a challenge to make it through all of the waves. Sorry, I've lost you there. Anyway, we'll go back to this image. So my strategy relative to the boats in the north is I actually did some northing in the last couple of hours after the front came through, and so I took that opportunity to get a few miles in the bank to head northwards. There we go. That's a bit of spray, and then, you know, it's an issue of sort of striking the balance, figuring out where you want to put yourself in the system, because often the strongest wind is not the fastest place to be. I'm being very attentive to the size of the waves and the condition of the waves, and that's a good proxy for how fast I'll be able to sail.
Great stuff. Conrad, a quick question or a quick hello from our esteemed race director, Hubert Lemonnier, for you.
Hello, Conrad. Happy to talk to you. And congratulations for all the job you've been doing so far. It's amazing. You are a tough sailor, we know that. You showed us a couple of nights ago that you were able to retrieve the sail back on your boat. Congratulations. I have a quick question for you. I was wondering, it's been a while you haven't been in this region, last Vendée and Barcelona World Race. Did you notice any differences in between the low pressure systems that are developing? Do you think they are closer to each other, stronger, or what's your opinion?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's been 8 years since I was down here last, and it was a bit of a shock to the system to remind myself of just how brutal these systems are and how strong and brutal these boats are. So it was a little bit of a recalibration to go, yeah, this is what the Southern Ocean is like. But certainly I've been surprised by the frequency of the depressions. You know, I had my sort of previous experience was to have one big system, and then you had a real ridge in the middle where you could sort of shake yourself off and warm up and dry out, and then prepare for the next one. But I feel like this has just been one constant attack since we've made it to the south. And so it just feels like it's one big depression rolling around here, and we're just on the wave all the time. So it's certainly different from how I remember it.
Nice.
Good stuff, Conrad. Great to catch up with you. You have a great day, and sail fast, sail safe, and we'll catch up in a few days.
Thanks very much. Bye, Robin, as well. Cheers, mate.
Bye-bye.
So, Hubert, your thoughts on Conrad Coleman? He knows his way round. He's been round a few times, but he's not had to go looking for problems, has he?
No, for sure. He's always sailing in the right position. He's expecting tough conditions as well, because he had some issues with the boat, and the way he put the boat, we can see today where he is. It's a balance in between getting some wind and nice sea state. So it's always very interesting to see where he is. And I think the longitude, he made the choice to stay a bit south of where he is, and hopefully it pays off. And
it's an interesting balance for him, isn't it? He's quite punchy in some respects, but he really knows his level, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He's a punchy guy. We know that. He knows his level. He's confident with himself. The boat as well. He reinforced the boat a lot from the last editions. I think that's the track he has shows us that he's confident. And just to see the boat speed he can get with the rough seas he's experiencing now.
Great stuff. Come back to you in a few seconds, Hubert. At the same time, the race with the Daggerboard fleet is really interesting. It's super exciting. I think there's 5 boats within about 100 miles, which is really nothing at this stage in the race. And right in the thick of it is Benjamin Ferry on Monoye Duo for a Job, who is going fast on the boat, which won the 2012 race in the hands of Francois Gabard. And the great thing about Benjamin is he speaks English like a native. Tell me everything.
My English is fucking shit, but is one of my goals of the Vendée Globe is to watch animals documentary in English in order to improve my English.
And you,
so I'm sailing, but I also try to improve my English. I just say that I have the feeling that because I watch some animals documentary, and I feel like all the Vendée Globe spirit and all the concurrents of the Vendée Globe are like some animals in the jungle, you know, and we are in the kind of sea jungle, and it's funny because there is the old elephant, which is Jean Le Can. He decided to make a road very north, very safe, because he knows it. He has the experience of the old elephant. And we are the young lion and the young animal of the jungle, and we all did the south road, and we learn about it. That it's too many danger in the south, and we go now to the north.
Fantastic. And what does that make Charlie Dallon? What animal is Charlie Dallon then?
I didn't choose already, but I think it's a very smart animal of the jungle, you know. He's not a lion because he's not the king of the lion, but I think it's more
a cheetah,
like a very intelligent animal. You know, like he find nobody see him, but he find a way.
Finally, just tell us about this race with the Daggerboard boats. It's a fantastic, exciting race for everyone.
Yeah, that's amazing because I don't know if people in the earth can see that, but it's very like the level is very high, and it's so interesting because every 4 hours the leader change, the strategy are totally different. Things happen. Some people take some risks, some other have a very good speed. So maybe people are focused on the foilers, but I think there is a very high level in this kind of boat, and I did the exercise this morning. I checked the weight of François Gabard with my boat when he won the Vendée Globe, and in fact we have almost the same average speed, around 18, 19 knots. So yeah, I think it's a very great weight in the race.
So there we go, Benjamin Ferry, the lion in the jungle, or the baby lion who's learning all the time. Now then, Alan Roberts, tell us how things are going with Clarisse. You're obviously in touch with her all the time. She's had a few little problems to sort out over the last few days.
Yeah, there have been a couple of small little problems, like I think everyone's dealing with, not as big as Comrades had to deal with, or Louis Bert and some of the others. I think publicised the issue with the foil rake, obviously less dramatic than Seb's foil issue. So now she's sailing around with her foil blocked on a given angle, which means she can't adjust the angle of the foil on one side of the boat. There's lots of little boat jobs to do every now and again, so she waits for little moments when there's a bit less wind or the sea's a bit flatter, and she'll go outside and she'll work for an hour or so, or as long as her hands can take in the cold weather, and then come back inside and wait for her next slot to do the job. So she kind of builds up a little jobs list. But other than that, I think she's in a really good place. I think she's living her course. She's in her little bubble. She's communicating a bit less than she was at the beginning of the race, but I think that's probably a good thing. So no, all in all, good. She's in a good little packet with Boris and Justine and Sam. And I think looking forward, unfortunately, I think they're just going to be the boats that are going to get cut off. I think the leading bunch might just make it ahead of the high pressure ridge, and they won't be able to catch up with them in the next weather system. But
they're calling her Boris's Angels.
Yeah, Boris's Angels.
Anyway, Hubert loves a challenge. Here he is with the weather.
Yeah, so I have a challenge today. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a little wrap up of what happened with the fleet for the last few days. So beginning with the screen, that's the general situation here. We can see that we're going to put some wind here. So basically, we know that all boats have their wind. There is no region where there is no wind. All of them have windy conditions, and especially those two here we can see here. So that's Thomas Riant and Johan Richomme. They were experiencing 35, 40 knots of wind speed, getting maybe more in the gust, 45 knots of wind. So they were absolutely smoking on the water. They are shredding the water, and they told us it was absolutely chaos. But they're happy because they don't want to be too far behind the two first boats, Charlie Dallin and Sébastien Simon. So Sébastien, as we said earlier, he broke his foil, but he's still doing some very good speed, although he was expecting less than 30% of performance. He still showed us that it's a very good speed. And the problem is with Charlie Dallin here, he has lighter wind, so probably a bit slower, and he has to do some jives. And the trick will be, we'll see later, to avoid the light wind ridge that is developing here. How does that work here? Yeah, so now we have the back of the fleet here. We have another big low pressure system here. We have Jean Le Cam who is experiencing better sea state, and he made the call to stay north of the low pressure system, whereas the two here, Freelance and Louis Duc, are experiencing very strong conditions. As we see, it's a very dynamic ocean Indian conditions, and everybody is really, I'm very happy how the people are sailing, because they are all placing the boats in very clean conditions, very clean situations to either way play with the north of the low pressure, as we can see here, or to put themselves in the right conditions to get, as Alan said, for Boris and his Angels to keep on sailing. So it's very nice to see as well that at the back of the fleet, we have another low pressure system here, where Su Jinkun, the Chinese sailor, experienced up to 49 knots of wind speed. He broke a hydro generator, but he managed to fix it. It's all safe, so very nice. If I do well, that's here. We see the ranking. As you can see, it hasn't changed a lot. Sébastien Simon is still second, Charlie Dallin ahead. Johan Richomme third, Thomas Riant fourth. And Thomas Riant, Jeremy Bayou, Nicolas Lunven 6th, Sam Guchai 7th, and Paul Meyer 8th. Now I'm going to show you on the screen what's going to happen. So that's the weather projections and the weather routing. So we see this big wind here is now going ahead, and luckily the two boats behind are trying to catch up, and they are catching up with Sébastien Simon and Charlie Dallin. And as we're going ahead, we see that they are experiencing a low pressure south of Tasmania. I just put on pause here. And that's this light ridge, the ridge of light wind here developing. And the goal for the boats is to catch up the first one and to avoid this region here. So normally, Charlie Dallin will manage to do that. Sébastien Simon may have, as we can see here, with the weather routing, he's probably going to go north to then go dive in the south. But we see maybe he can make it, not sure. And the two boats behind, their goal will be to catch up with them and get this low pressure to Tasmania to go very quickly to the Pacific Ocean.
Fantastic. Hubert loves the challenge, and you can do that every day if you like, no problem. But Alan Roberts, just tell us a little bit, this group of four, do we think we're going to see them finishing in Les Sables d'Olonne all together?
You talk about Boris and his angels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the moment they've stuck together the whole way. It'd be really interesting. There's a long way to go, so anything can happen. Any little issue could see them drop off a weather system, or any breakage could see them pull out the race. But at the moment, they're having a great battle together. So I hope so. That'll be pretty fun if they sail the whole way around the world together.
Well, indeed. Now, Ollie here, our Swiss-German skipper, he passed the Cape of Good Hope a couple of days, or yesterday, I think. He's happy to keep doing his thing, and we caught up with Ollie on Toute Gut, alles gut, on Toute Gut, as Ollie told us today. A good couple of days for you. You're coming into the Indian Ocean for the first time. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling all right, actually. It's definitely quite challenging sailing. Like yesterday, the front that I sailed through or came over me was much more powerful than expected, and the sea state was much bigger than expected. So no, I'm learning every day, and every day where I'm learning something without breaking something is a good day, and I'm enjoying myself, and I slowly but steadily take the miles off towards the east.
And at a month in, how do you feel physically? Do you get kind of more and more sailing fit, as it were, or is there a fatigue? How are you physically?
Physically, I'm all right, and mentally as well, in a way. I found a rhythm that I can sustain.
Indeed. Now, listen, just as on cue, we've had a few questions of the same questions coming in off the internet, and this is from Anne de Saint-Par, I think, and she's asking you to tell us exactly the stages to Jibe and Imoca, as you're just about to do that. Just talk us through how long does it take and the different steps, briefly.
Well, that's a good question. To be fair, down here the jibes look slightly different than they would somewhere in the North Atlantic or in calmer sea state. It all starts with moving a little bit of stack inside the boat, tackling my navigation table and stuff, or jibing my navigation table, then transferring the ballast. Once you've done that, then the inside is kind of done. Then I play it safe. Down here, I furl away my staysail, I furl away my gennaker. Then I start to slowly jibe the mainsail, meaning I pull my traveller to windward, I sheet on my main. I can already kind of put some tension on my leeward runner, and then I get the cockpit ready. I'll then dump my keel. The autopilot will jibe the boat. I will be on the main sheet. I will ease the main sheet nicely out of the jibe. And then I set the mainsail again, set the keel again, unfurl my gennaker, unfurl my staysail. The whole thing takes, I would say, about half an hour maybe in total. But that's playing it safe.
Now listen, Ollie, we're just talking with Benjamin Ferry, who said that he sees every different skipper out there as a different animal in the jungle. I want to know what kind of animal you want to be.
You caught me off guard with this question. What kind of animal I would be? That's a good question. I would like to be one that is not too gung-ho, not too much of a maverick, but just kind of looks after his little boat.
So there we go. Ollie here still pondering what animal he's going to be in the jungle, but he's having a good race so far. Just reverting back to the rankings, just to reiterate this catch-up between Thomas Riong and Johan Richomme. They've actually caught up something closer to 200 miles over the last couple of days coming in on this low pressure. So they're in third and fourth. They're going really nicely. Otherwise, looking down for the internationals, Sam Goodchild still going well in seventh. For the internationals, Boris Herrmann up to 10th. That's the highest he's been in his little group of angels. Justine Metro now in 11th, Sam Davis 12th, and Clarisse in 13th. Pip Hare in 16th. He's caught up a lot of miles on Roman Attanasio, and in fact she's only 20 miles behind and was still going quicker when I looked this morning. Isabel Josh get up to 19th, Alan Rura 20th from Switzerland, and then further down the table Conrad Coleman in 29th, who have just spoken to. Oliver here also spoke to today in 32nd. Denny van Veenberg in great form coming into the Indian Ocean. And obviously going pretty well as well. Yin Kun Chu just crossed through Cape of Good Hope as Hubert gave us an update. He's got over nearly 45-50 knots of breeze at times, so a really baptism of fire for him. And Shabby in the 38th. So that's the ranking now. Arriving into Cape Town yesterday was Louis Burton, obviously dejected and disappointed, but we spoke with him earlier on, and this is Louis.
Alors, les prochaines étapes, il y a un peu d'administratif parce que quand on arrive par la mer quelque part, voilà, il faut faire un peu l'administratif. Ensuite, il y a mon équipe qui est arrivée en avion hier avec du matériel pour remplacer tout ce qui a cassé, notamment les pièces structurelles. Donc on va faire ça, on va refaire encore des renforts sur les réparations de coques et de ponts et reprendre la mer dès que c'est possible pour rentrer en Europe.
So there we go, Louis Burton in Cape Town safely. Alan, just talk to us a little bit more about Clarisse. How often do you have contact with her?
Yeah, so we're talking with Clarisse all the time. It's sometimes it might be as simple as a hello, how's it going? What are you up to today? What food are you eating? Or other times it might be she's informing us all the time any issues that she has, whether it's a broken lazy bag stitching or a pin break or a bit of wear on a line. She's keeping us up to date with the state of the boat. There's some jobs that she has to exchange with us in how to carry out the repair, and there's other jobs that she just informs us and she carries out the repair herself. So I'd say we're talking several times a day, and that's a combination of text notes and voice notes and sometimes some pictures.
So there we go. Alan, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully, I still say we've probably got at least 55 odd days left of racing. Hopefully, you'll keep coming back and joining us. So, Alan, thank you so much. Hubert, any news from Charlie Dallin crossing Cape Lewin yet?
So I can tell you right now, like within the next 5 minutes, he should be crossing the longitude of Cape Lewin. So he's almost done. He won't beat the record, unfortunately, from 2016. But that's a good job. So he's almost crossing the Cape Lewin now.
Great stuff. So just behind the record held by Armella Cleash.
Yeah, correct. It was this morning. If he wanted to beat the record,
wasn't it?
Say it again.
8:15, 8:13 or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, it was
UTC.
8:14. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. So Hubert, you've got plenty of opportunities to come back anytime you like, especially for the weather.
I tried to do better next time.
No, it's fantastic. It was great. Anyway, that's all we have time for today on our Vendée Globe Live show in English. Tomorrow, my guest is Leah Sweet, who was with Justine Metro's team, and she's got a fantastic story coming all the way into France, and she's making her own way. So we'll have Leah Sweet tomorrow. In the meantime, let's look at how difficult it is to make a cup of tea in the Southern Ocean with Pip Hare. See you tomorrow.